Well, so Stephen, we're hearing about these DOGE dividend checks that would be 20% back to taxpayers, 20% to pay down the debt. 60% is left. Who gets that?
Well, the way that it works is when you achieve savings, you can either return it to taxpayers, you can return it to our debtors, or it can be cycled into next year's budget, and then it just lowers the overall baseline for next year. So in other words, you can just transfer into the next fiscal window and then lower the overall spending level. And that means that you can achieve a permanent savings that way, and that reduces the deficit.
And when is it that people might see those checks?
Well, this is all going to be worked on through the reconciliation process with Congress that's going underway right now. As you've seen, the Senate's moving a bill, the House is moving a bill. The president has great confidence in both chambers to deliver on his priorities. I would just take this opportunity to note that President Trump has made a historic commitment to the working class of this country to fight for major tax relief and major price relief. And cutting spending, as DOGE is doing, and cutting taxes is the key to delivering on both of those promises. And President Trump is resolutely committed to doing both.
Thank you. And on Ukraine, I guess this is...
What do these 5K DOGE checks mean, and exactly where does it come from? We have a 20% of the savings going to, at this point, the taxpayers, the people who paid into the tax, not, people who don't make money. 20% going to paying off the debt, and 60% rolling into the next year. So what do I think about this? I think overall it's pretty, it's okay, right? It's still inflationary at the end of the day, right? If this was non-taxed, selfishly, I'd probably be okay with getting a check, but fiscally, it probably wouldn't be the best idea just adding even more debt to it. So even if we're saving it, we add that check to it, it's still going to be more inflation. So I don't necessarily agree with how that is being done. Would I like a check? Absolutely. But it's neither here nor there. And I'm interested to hear what Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment have to say about this. They get into pretty deep depth in what these DOGE dividends would be and what they think of it. But it's a lot of fraud that's being seen, and that's going to be cut in the future. Social Security is absolutely filled with people that are really, really old getting multiple payments. So I can't wait to see it and hear it. With that being said, let's get into it.
Clip. While we're on it with DOGE, go to the clip where Trump says he's weighing giving 20% of the DOGE savings to Americans. Okay. So folks, this is kind of weird because they're saying if we find the amount of fraud that we find that you paid money into it, they want to give you 20% of it.
I want it.
Okay. They want to give you 20% of it. Is this the clip, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Watch this clip here, folks.
Sir, Elon Musk is proposing potentially giving money to Americans based on what DOGE is finding. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I love it. A 20% dividend, so to speak, for the money that we're saving by going after the waste and fraud and abuse and all of the other things that are happening. I think it's a great idea.
How much money do you think?
Could be a lot. I mean, if it's 20%, we'd give back a lot of money to the taxpayer. And also it'd give an incentive for the taxpayer to go out and report things to us where we can save money.
Pat,
So-
what are we going to do about the deficit? Well, you tell me. You're a business guy.
About the deficit?
$36 trillion.
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to say this, and then I'll give you my answer because I'm going to come to you
I'm thinking
first.
about this because we should pay it off.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
So I like where you went, by the way. You went straight to a person taking care of their fine. Hey, we're getting a big return. Let's buy Xbox. Let's buy video games.
Let's pay off the
Pay
debt.
off the debt. Yes, you're thinking the right way, Tom.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this?
Well, I think this is a great idea. And unlike the government that was sending us relief checks during COVID, and some people were getting checks that didn't really need them or deserve them, you notice what they said here. To all tax-paying units, married filing jointly, $5,000. Individual, $5,000. And they were very specific about it in the follow-up. And I think this is a great idea because it sends a message to America. This was your money, and it's coming back to you because we found out where it went, and we're going to rebate you. It's a message to America. People say it's buying votes. No, it's not. He's in his second term. People say, "Oh, you're trying to stimulate the economy because you're not going to have double Social Security checks going out to people, and those double checks can't buy goods and services. So we're in a risk of recession if too much Doge, because that's one of the arguments, right? We could have a recession if Doge finds a lot of money that we're flowing illicitly to citizens running scams, and all of a sudden that money stops buying plane tickets, Disneyland, booze, all these things.
That's a tricky argument.
It's a very tricky argument, but it's an argument being.
It's an absolute idiotic argument. And at the end of the day, these people are fraudulently getting money. It's like we shouldn't be giving them, even if it could possibly stagnate some types of situations or industries. So I think that's really a reach. And I don't really think that that's necessarily even a good idea, like to argue with. So
being made.
Yeah.
No, you could cause a recession. Let people commit fraud. And I look at it and say, wait a minute. I think this is a positive message for the American. The second part I look at is I'm ready for chapter 2. And I don't think we can debate it. We can suppose, but chapter 2 is going to be, okay, what is some long-term deficit to get closer to a balanced budget? And what is the long-term now pay down that debt? And we got an awful lot of oil, and we're about to be the number 1 oil producer in the world. If we aren't already, we are based on a projected reserve basis, and we could be just having extraction taxes on our own oil, and that tax goes back to paying down our debt. There's a lot of ways it could go in there to paying it down. But to your first question, Pat, I love this. It sends the right message to America. It was your money. It was wasteful, and here's some coming back to you.
Yeah.
You want me to give my thoughts on
Yeah.
this? Okay. So I think this is one of the scariest things for Democrats if they pull this off.
Really?
And I'll explain to you why.
Yeah.
When I first was part of this insurance company, I wanted to find a way to participate in the long term of the company. I wanted equity. Nobody wanted equity. I wanted equity because I wanted to go 20 years. I'm like, dude, I want equity on the company. If we make it multi-billion dollars, I want to participate in equity. Like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, okay, cool. No problem. I'd like to participate in that. We like that. We like that. You own a piece of stock options. You own the company. If it grows, I'm going to get a check. Like my guys right now, some of the, checks that the guys get from the insurance company, they're like, what the hell is this? This is part of what happens when a company makes profits. Okay. Yeah. To shift the thinking of a country, if you shift the thinking and say, every time we find wasted money, we're sending you percentage, you have the entire country supporting you.
Yeah, you're right.
Did you understand what happened right there?
True.
Because what you're now doing is you're revolutionizing the freaking game. Do you know what the opponent can do? When this may be one of the scariest, when he said, no taxes on tips. I hate this guy, but I'll vote for him. No taxes on tips. Yeah. But you know what this is? This is no taxes on tips, on steroids, growth hormone, TRT, add whatever the hell you want to put on top.
Yeah.
Every single thing on top of that, that's what.
Vinny is absolutely loving it. He's giggling in the background. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think about in that way. I mean, it really is kind of like owning stock in the country at that point. So if there's more fraud, there's more waste, and there's more cuts. I mean, if you get like a dividend check based on that, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, obviously, it still is inflationary, so I don't like that, but optics wise, it's amazing. I think it's a great look.
But now let me ask you this. There seems to be a divide philosophically. One side says the only way to get rid of the deficit is to tax. But free market people say, hold on, bro, tax, give me the money so I can stimulate the economy.
That's
right?
That's right.
And then you'll be able to have a wider tax base, and then we can pay it off.
Yeah, look,
I don't know.
Do you have friends or relatives that no matter how much money you give them, they're always going to come back for more money?
Come on. It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. You are like, you were broke at 50 grand, you were broke at 80 grand, and now you're broke at 120 grand. It's not about how much money you make. Your mindset sucks, okay, when it comes down to money. Yes. And you don't want to admit it. So no matter what, those people, they're always going to have the financial difficulties. But if you get the country sitting there saying, hey, did you hear about what happened? What happened? What did I find? Find some more fraud. They just saved us another $3.8 trillion. They just spent $600 billion. Yeah. They were getting another $3,800 check. Woo! Awesome. That's great. We're finding more fraud. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. Oh my God. Do you realize what
that's
means?
Exactly right, man. Yeah. My father always said the best way to lose a friend is to lend him money. Which is true.
But see, doing stuff like that, That's they were hinting at a third term. That type of shit would make people go, we kind of want him to stay.
Where you going?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Yeah, wait, come back, Trump. That's when
Papa.
that shit
We
changes.
start calling him daddy.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody needs to understand there's one thing. America is broke. I mean, we can't be any clearer about this. We're rich and broke. There's a difference between broke and poor. Poor is you're freaking Bangladesh. Good luck out there, buddy. Good luck out there in Malaysia. Good luck out there in half these countries in the world.
Listen,
America is rich,
What's your language?
but broke. I know. Shout out my
Brian has
Malaysians
an
right there.
affinity with Malaysia.
But-
Don't do that.
yeah,
again.
by the way, don't
here's
say
what-
anything about Malaysia.
Here's
okay, Brian.
here's what's
got a
actually
timeshare.
going to happen with Trump. What was Trump's highest approval rating ever?
52?
If that.
Okay.
If that. So I've been saying for years, I would love for a president in America today, in this divided, fractured country, somehow to get to 60%. Let's just break everything into thirds. There's a third of America that's like, Trump, bro. Yeah, Trump, Jesus, Dale Earnhardt, straight up. And maybe not even that order. There's a third of Americans that are like, I don't care what he does, he's the devil. So remove those people. Then there's a third of America in the middle. They're like, all right, let's see what we got. And slowly, he's chipping away. Boom, boom, boom. And if you said like equity in America, every time that we locate X amount of billions of dollars, you're getting a check. You're getting a choke. He's Oprah Winfreying up the whole country.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's my money and I need it now.
By the way,
Adam, he doesn't really necessarily like Trump all that much. He's pretty critical on him, but here he has a pretty solid take, in my opinion. And it's true. I mean, let's see kind of where the wind blows with the right and left of the center. I mean, he is chipping away. He's making gains. And the more time that he's in front of people and, gets his agenda out there, people start liking it.
Like
for the
JG
pe- for the
Wentworth.
people, for the people that are going to say, I thought you weren't about redistribution of wealth. No, this isn't that. This is called, we found fraud from what the government was doing, not what taxpayers were
Or
doing.
waste.
That's the wasted money of our money. They wasted our money. So now you're firing all of these folks and you're telling them, see if you can make it in free market. You ever go to, like, I went to a restaurant the other day. What is the restaurant in Ball Harbor, right next to Carpaccio? It's a
Makoto?
French restaurant. No, it's a French restaurant. Ball Harbor,
Brian's family.
French restaurant. Okay, so it's called Le Zoo. Okay, Le Zoo. And I go over there, and I love going to this place. It's Jennifer's birthday, Valentine's Day, so we go to Le Zoo. The hostess is working over there. Okay, so
That's
we
really
go
nice.
in, and I said, we'd like to get a table, and I point at the table. 80% of the place is empty. There is nobody there. And I say, I'd like to sit at that table. I like to sit in the corner. And she says, I have 300 reservations. I said, I understand that, but is that reserved? I have 300 reservations. I said, what do you have available? I can only put you here. And she's being disrespectful to Jen and I. It's her birthday. So we went and ate there the day before. So she takes us to a table, and I'm like, wow. So they reserved that table. We go eat at this lady's name, like Yesden or something like that, with curly hair. We go eat at Carpaccio. While we eat at Carpaccio, great service, phenomenal service. Guys are doing a great job. They come back. I'm watching that table. I go back and I see the table's been empty the entire time. Okay.
Oh, man.
Then I come in and the manager sees me. He's a Yankee guy. I'm a Yankee guy. He says, hey, how you doing? How's everything? I said, I got a question for you. And she's standing right there.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, man.
I said, I came here about an hour ago and I've been watching the entire time. I wanted that table. She said, the tables are reserved. Is that table reserved? He starts rolling his eyes.
Oh, man.
I said, so it wasn't reserved? No. She's on the phone acting like she can't hear. I said, before I leave, did you just hear what your boss said? The boss says what he says to her. Oh, no, I was trying to sit you whatever. I said, no. And then Jennifer comes. No.
Oh.
And Jennifer is very
Jennifer
chill.
does not
She
get
had
into it
to.
like that.
No, you told us that table was reserved. That table's not reserved. Anybody can sit there.
Oh, my.
And then she said, well, I apologize. Guess what? She reminds me of employees that work at the DMV.
Oh, yeah.
Because some people that have that power, they just want to use
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
right.
The fact that they're firing all these people in the government that treat our customers like shit, let's see how you make it in a free market enterprise.
True.
Let's see how you do. By the way, flip side, we go to this restaurant called the French Steak, whatever.
Dirty French.
Dirty French.
In Miami.
In Miami.
Brickell.
Waiter comes. Francisco was a basketball player. Came to the States at 16 years old. He was going to be an NBA player, 16 years old, Mexican, falls in love. Incredible service. When I tell you royal treatment, I cannot even tell you how they treated us over there. From the guy at the front on Valentine's Day that had a red jacket on, from the guy that kept bringing us the drinks, from the lady that would bring us all this stuff. Francisco got a 10. He said, Patrick, can you please give me some love? Francisco, you were amazing. I went to the bathroom. There was a whole thing that said a girl had left a message. I heart Adam. There was all this stuff in the bathroom.
Really?
She was hoping that I would come.
Oh, okay.
But by the way, that guy's going to make it in free market, and the other girl's going to be losing jobs left and right.
That's right.
So I love the efficiency with government employees. Let's see if you can make the same kind of money treating people like shit in a free market. Tom.
And that just shows, right? Like, this guy has a business mindset. And when you put a business mindset onto the government, you would be shocked on how well it actually does. And people, like he's explaining, that don't really care and they just want to use their power for whatever power they have, those people need to be eradicated, in my opinion. And one thing that Trump's doing is just that. And I'm really long-winded story, but it really makes you think of how bad some governmental employees are just stock. It's so egregious. And if we have more of a free market style of government, I think a lot of people would really, really rise and do really, really good things for the government. But, you know, it's a transitional period, and I think it's slowly starting.
I give you a period on the end of the sentence here. Over the weekend, Bloomberg measured 48% of America thinks it's going in the right direction. That is the highest percentage ever recorded in the history of Bloomberg keeping the right direction survey.
Wow.
So guess what? There's a lot of headlines going back and forth and a lot of things going on. But what does America think? That's what we think.
That is unbelievable when you see these stories.
PBD, what's the book you always talk about? The life cycles of a business, Barbarians to Bureaucrats?
Yeah, Barbarians to
She
Bureaucrats.
is just a bureaucrat just getting in your way, whereas our friend Francisco, flag carrier out there.
Francisco's a stud. Francisco's a stud.
Let him complain. Let him complain.
Yeah.
America thinks it's happening and it's going in the right direction.
By the way, what did Trump call it during election when we were there? He said this is the golden age.
It's the golden age of America.
And I'm telling you right
Remember
now,
that.
we are freaking winning, and it's so. And I don't blame the left; they're not used to this. Like, just relax. I know it's weird. Just go with the flow and stop acting
I
like a
have
bunch
to
of
give
bitches.
Brian Callen a shout out. Then, if you ever seen the movie The Hangover, check them out right now. 1 and 2. Remember the part of the movie when they go, "We're back, we're back!" Like America's back,
Finally,
baby.
finally.
There it is.
But
Look at that-
Hey,
look at that
this
young
guy.
kid.
Look at
Look
this
at that.
ID.
Brian, you've been in so many movies that the other day I'm watching one of my favorite movies of all time by Gavin O'Connor, Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Gavin O'Connor, what a freaking stud
That's
of a
my
guy
boy.
he is. He is a him and
He
his wife.
listens to you all the
great.
time.
I love Gavin.
Yeah.
Phenomenal guy, good family.
Yep.
And I see you, I'm like, holy shit. And you chilled it. You were so good. And I'm like, the
that time.
relationship with Joe Rogan obviously helped you out. I'm sure you watch a lot.
So Gavin wanted.
All right, not to cut Brian off, but I don't think they're talking about the DOGE checks anymore. So either way, I think overall they had a pretty balanced opinion. None of them really said that it was inflationary, even though technically, you know, the money was allocated for something. So I don't know. It's to be seen what exactly that looks like and what the parameters are. Because you know, it's all it is right now is hearsay. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share Smooth Unfiltered. Peace.